Daddy eats lots. Daddy eats lots. Daddy eats lots. Munch, munch, munch.
Hello and welcome to Daddy Eats Last, where we discuss the challenges of being a man in modern society and whatever the hell that even means. I'm Kane, and joining me tonight are Ryan and Matthew. Firstly, Matthew, happy 40th birthday.
Thank you, Kane. Thank you very much. Yeah, turned the big 40 on Thursday, so life begins.
Okay, a very personal question, Matthew. Very personal. Have you got any grey pubic hair yet?
Grey pubic
You don't have to answer.
No.
You don't have to answer if you don't want to.
No, I was trying to think. So I was given a little touch up the other day, but no greys down there yet.
The touch up. What do you touch it up with? Scissors? You get one of those manscaping things? Just
I haven't got the manscape. It's just one of those all-round grooming devices. So it's the face, the body, and the hair. Yeah, but no, I didn't see any greys. I'll keep an eye out though.
Yeah,
I'll keep you posted.
They'll generally pop up under the sack first, so you just keep an eye out. But anyway, that's by the by. Happy birthday!
Thank you. Yes.
How are you going, Ryan? How is Barcelona?
Barcelona is very good. Life begins or life ends at 40. I wasn't sure where you were going there, Matty, but any midlife crisis plans for you? Are you hunting out a Porsche convertible or something?
Not yet, mate. No, it hasn't hit yet. I'm trying to get the fit body and stay away from the dad bod, so that may be a crisis in itself. But no automobiles on the horizon.
You're not old. You're not old until a grey pube comes through.
I'm still young then.
Definition of age. But if people obviously can't see it, we're recording tonight. Matthew does look like he's recording live from a toilet. So what's been going up in Brisbane since his 40th might have been a hard night on the Terps.
I've been banished. Yeah.
What do you get up to for 40th? It is a milestone birthday to some extent. Like, what do you get up to?
Yeah. So we Thursday was a day I just worked with Kim in the office, and then we had tacos for dinner, given it was just a Thursday. So the Friday night, Kim and I went out for dinner. We sort of celebrated our wedding anniversary, which is 2 days after my birthday. So we had a bit of an evening out. Probably the best thing we popped a bottle of Dom, which I've never tasted before. And we bought that back in 2017 on the trip coming back from Hong Kong. There's been milestones in our life where we said we're going to crack it open, but we never got around to it. So we thought this shop that we're renovating is pretty close to being finished. So we thought, wedding anniversary, we'll come down to the shop, bit of cheese and crack open the Dom, and it was every bit as good as I thought it would be.
Triple header celebration.
Triple header, yeah. And then so that was that. And then next week, just going to shoot the races up here in Brisbane with a couple of blokes from the kids' school. And that's it, really. So my birthday, I don't know. I'm happy for it to just go by the wayside and more celebrate the anniversary.
I was going to say that. It sounds like the anniversary was, took sort of precedence. Your 12th wedding anniversary. I remember the wedding. It was very warm. I think I'm still sweating from that wedding. 12 years, mate. Congratulations on that as well.
12 years. Yeah. Coincidentally, actually, I'm going to Hamilton Island with Sam on Tuesday for 3 nights. So I'll go and show him where we got married 12 years ago. And yeah,
little chap up on the hill.
Little chaps on the hill, yeah. Sweat flex, no aircon.
Oh, the aircon I think there was aircon in the chapel was okay. As soon as you set foot out of that, it was just, it was very humid.
I'm melting. Yeah.
It was very much like that. Thought we briefly talk about our goals, because it's something we wanted to touch on each time we chat this year to make sure we're all accountable to each other and make sure we're trying to at least kind of cover off on a few things which we're aiming for. So I'm happy to lead off in this instance, because I think I run a 10-month year. I don't run the traditional sort of 12-month year. My year starts when my little fella goes to school at the end of Jan, and pretty much ends, I guess, sort of early December when he finishes up. Between those periods, it's just a bit of a mess. So I run a 10-month calendar. My goals were fortnightly time with my parents, which I've been pretty good at. Fortnightly lunch with friends, which I've been pretty good at. Start one new business. I haven't done anything really on that yet. Work from 8:30 to 3:30 and spend less time at home. I've been okay at that. I could probably improve that area. Become more functionally fit. I've been doing stretching once a week, like a 15, 20-minute stretching session at least once a week. Reduce negative influences around me that I don't like. I've been okay at. Start a new hobby. I'm playing tennis now. I'm actually playing tennis, which I've never done before. I never had lessons, never played tennis, but just sort of picked it up and doing that. And I walk and podcast. My goal was sort of 3 times a week. I probably do that 6 times a week. It's probably one of my sort of favorite things to do. So yeah, I'm going okay on my goals so far. I never used to have goals. I've got them this year, and I'm so far so good.
Yeah, well, from a guy who has never had goals in these podcasts we've been doing to absolutely sounds like we're smashing them. So good on you.
I don't think they're hard goals though. They're not like, oh, X, Y, or Z, or what was this Ryan's super stretch goal of having twins? Like, pretty. I guess I'm aiming for low. I've got low hanging fruit that I'm picking off. So yeah, I'll start small.
Ambition will come with the coming years of wisdom and the greys that come through. Came, you'll get the wisdom.
I might just have to start myself. Just start get manscaping like Matty. Might be the way forward. Can't see me if you shave them off.
That's right. Yeah.
What about you, Ryan? I remember you had a very solid set of goals. How are you tracking?
Dude, life's pretty good. We've come off a very big month. I don't think I've had a day off in the last month, so it's all guns firing. But yeah, moving along well. We are trying to move our third child to the other side of the world, which takes a lot of time and a lot of money. But other than that, which is all about the plan on getting back to Australia and then launching the next business. But all the plans of that are coming into place. Yesterday, I just submitted a 100-page thesis for my Cambridge research project. So that is like a massive weight off the shoulders. So one of the goals is obviously finish the Cambridge degree, play in varsity. So the AFL match that they play between Oxford and Cambridge is in 2 weeks from today. So I've been named starting team. So pending that I have no injuries in the next 2 weeks, I'll get to tick that off, which will be nice. And then yeah, everything else is moving along pretty well. Career's doing really well. And then adventure. So we booked Mont Blanc in for. It's looking like it'll come together in the back end of June. So finally climb that after 3 years, I guess, hiatus, thanks to COVID and a few other bits and pieces. And my Spanish is getting better living in Spain. So I'm learning the language, and we've got lessons and so forth. So yeah, all in all, just a big grind period at the moment, like putting a lot of the legwork in to hopefully compound it for the rest of the year. But it seems to be coming together despite many long days at the moment. But we've gotten on like the 2012 series of The Block. And for those who aren't in Australia, The Block's like a renovation show where they renovate houses in like 10 weeks and just do crazy long days and renovations. And we sort of have been watching that for a little bit of motivation of just powering through, and just a little bit of Australia for a bit of homesickness.
What was happening back? They would have had some references to Australia back at that time. What was happening back in that original block?
Oh, 2012. Well, it was in South Melbourne, which was really nice. Near where we used to live. It's just quite Australiana. Always cracking a beer, always having a barbie.
Can't do that
very...
now. Can't do that now to defend someone.
Yeah, there's a few things that are said there that you kind of go, oh, I don't know that you could say that anymore. Like a couple of jokes around, ladies on the tools and so forth. But by all in all, it's a pretty. If I look at it, that season's probably held pretty well in the last 10 years. Like nothing outrageous.
Nice, Matthew. Goals. How are they going?
Yeah.
You had a lot of twirls the other day for your 40th. I saw you sent through the 12 diorama of the kids have put together, making out the number 40 and a few other additional twirls. How many twirls were on that bit of paper or cardboard?
I think 17, maybe 17 or 23.
Full size twirls or fun size?
Yeah, a bit of a mixture, combination of fun size and full. There's not many left, let me tell you. I have a bit of an issue with chocolate. But anyway, it's not in my goals to not eat chocolate, so
go forward. Go forward and be merry.
That's right. Boys, I've done a terrible job at my goals of late, but it's sort of Groundhog Day here at the moment with this shop. So I'm pretty much working during the day with Kim, and then of a night time, I'll come back and do some painting and repeat. And that's why I'm here on a Sunday night doing tiling. But I noticed that one of my goals was to, I couldn't remember if this was a New Year's resolution or a goal, but to help Eloise learn how to ride her bike and tie a shoelace. And both of those have been ticked off. So there's no training wheels anymore. She can tie a shoelace independently. And increase patience. And just looking back over the last probably month, I reckon my patience increased tenfold, especially with sitting down doing homework with the kids. Yeah, so I guess I can tick that one, semi-tick that one off, and all the rest are just they're coming. As soon as the place is done, bang.
How are you
I'll turn
finding?
my attention
How
to
are you
this.
finding long division?
Actually, long division's fine. Mia was doing fractions the other day.
Oh, love fractions.
Yeah,
That's my
mate,
jam.
I'm looking up YouTube videos to try and remember how to do it. I was never really good at fractions. I was more of a simultaneous equation kind of.
Oh, fractions. I remember. It's one of the keys is when you multiply it, you got to turn the second one upside down or something like that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And then you switch them over, and
Yeah.
So it did come back to me eventually, but yeah, it's interesting, like watching them go through what you went through, all those years ago, and try and remember it all and try and help the best you can, and getting told that no, it's not the way you do it. I'm like, no, there's in this kind of situation with fractions and other kind of mathematical equations, there's a couple of different ways to arrive at the same answer, but
You got to show your workings, though, Matthew.
got to show your workings. That's true. Yes.
It's amazing. I don't know how our parents used to do like help us with homework. There was no YouTube or anything back then. Like, I don't know, they must have, I don't know.
No,
must have been a parents' helpline or something back then.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of kids, I wanted to briefly talk about kids' bedtimes and we always used to get told it's past your bedtime, so you couldn't do anything. Like, there's been a lot of concerts this week. Like, I see, Harry Styles in town, Ed Sheeran's in town. Everything seems to happen midweek. I went to the soccer midweek in June. There's a lot of stuff which happens during the school week or work week now, which sort of going back a generation, it was always on the weekend or a Friday night. It wasn't on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night. It was always Friday, Saturday night, and maybe a Sunday afternoon. And my wife went to Ed Sheeran on Thursday. She thought it was great. And then we went to school on Friday for drop off, and a couple of the other kids, my little fella's age, sort of 7, had been to the concert. My wife got home at midnight, and they left pretty much like bang when it finished, straight in the car, straight home, like a really good run. And they got home at midnight then. Like, I can't, like, does it's past bedtime still exist anymore?
It does in my family, absolutely. There's definitely a bedtime because the kids just need the sleep to function. We did take Mia to Ed Sheeran as well. She's 10, but we did go on a Saturday night, and had the concert been midweek, I don't know if we would have actually taken her. But I mean, to take a 7-year-old to a concert like that, they're going to have so many opportunities in their life to experience it later down the track. There's probably not a need to take a 7-year-old during the week. Again, a weekend, maybe, so they can sleep in the next day. But, to be able to function properly at school, you definitely need that minimum amount of sleep for the age you are, I believe. And that's why our kids have always had a bit of a bedtime, at least always through the week anyway. Yeah,
we're the same. It's very much like we feel like you almost feel like you see other parents do this sort of stuff. You go, are you depriving your kid of something they should be able to do? Or is it just like what the other parent might be doing is not what you're going to do, and you're not really depriving them, you're just making a different choice? Like, it's sometimes that sort of balancing act where you go, well, I'd love to do something like that. I said to my wife, if the big day out was still on, I'd take little fella in the afternoon. We'd stay there all day. We'd be home in bedtime. It wouldn't affect his sleep, sort of thing. I think it's more that just the time stuff's on, where if it had Friday or Saturday night, no problem at all. But on a school night,
yeah, some interesting choices.
We couldn't even stay up. I don't think we could even start past. I think when I was a kid, Darren Hinch was on at 7 o'clock, not a current affair, or today tonight it was Hinch at 7. Like 7:30 once Hinch was finished, it was bedtime.
Once E Street started, it was bedtime.
Oh, it's E Street. That was almost X-rated back in the day.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know though. It's is it also part of like the fact that like footy's now on Thursdays, and there are concerts that everything used to be the weekend world, but now like people work on the weekend and then they take days off during school, and there's like this whole blurring of actually the old Monday to Friday 9 to 5 that most people did and then you actually, because we're online all the time, is there almost just like this infusion of this blurriness? I mean, we don't have kids, so I don't know about bedtime, but I certainly know, we were in a restaurant. It's not uncommon 8, 9 p.m. here in the Mediterranean Spanish lifestyle. And yeah, there's little 5-year-olds running around because actually getting into a restaurant at 8:30 at night is early over here. So culturally seems to be quite different. And the kids are, we go and pick a coffee up at 9 in the morning and the kids are running into school. So I don't know, but I remember, it was always, I remember having a bit of a fight because daylight savings kicked in early for the first time in Sydney and the sun was still up, but it was past bedtime, and I remember like screaming, going, "But the sun's up! I should be allowed to be awake," because I think there was a barbecue going on or something. But yeah, it was pretty hard lined where you need your 10 hours sleep so you can function at school, I guess.
Yeah, no issue with daylight savings up in Queensland, a bit behind the times up there. But yeah, see, I remember the same thing, like going to bed and it being blurring sunshine outside, and it was just what it was though. But I reckon I used to misbehave a lot when I was a kid, and I reckon because I didn't sleep. Mum said I never used to sleep, and I was a pain, like a real delinquent when I was under 11 or maybe under 10. Once I got to the end of primary school, I was okay. I'd probably started to sleep a bit more consistently then. I reckon lack of sleep's a big deal. Like our little fella, like he had an hour's less sleep this morning. He just woke up early and he's just harder to deal with. Like I can't imagine kind of waking up on the Friday after getting home from Ed Sheeran at, midnight and then getting up at 7 o'clock for school the next day. And I guess at that point you just handball it off to a teacher. So it's a teacher's responsibility, but man, kids need their sleep. Adults need their sleep. Like if I was up until midnight and then I was thinking I might get up and watch soccer tomorrow. The Liverpool were playing Man United at 3:30. I might get up at 4:30 and watch the second half. By early afternoon, I could be a jerk. You kind of have to weigh up these decisions.
Yeah, it's all right if they do sleep in the next day, but our kids tend to, regardless of what time they go to bed, most of the time they'll be up consistently at the same time the next morning, which is, relatively early. So if they're staying up too late, not getting that solid sleep, then they're definitely angry as well.
Which is the right idea. You should still actually get up at your same time that you get up, so you don't really muck up your circadian rhythm, so like your sleep rhythm. So you should really still try to get up at that same time and then just get through that day and then go to sleep at your normal time the next night. So you should have that one day where it's really affected. But yeah, it makes that day hard when you got like a 7-year-old or a 10-year-old or a 5-year-old or whatever who may not have had enough sleep.
What do you base your bedtime on, Kane, for your little fella? Are you hearing what other kids are doing at school, or do you just Google what time should a 6 or 7-year-old go to bed? Or?
Nah, definitely not. Some of the kids at school, like we like at the end of the school holidays, there's a couple of birthday parties at the end of the school holidays, and talking to the parents, I said, "Oh, well, we've really let it go in the school holidays. Like our kids are going to go, like this is the same age. Our kids are going to bed at sort of 11, like 10:30, 11 o'clock. I'm like, whoa, I'm in bed by then. But they have to really wind it back. I was like, oh, what time do they usually go to bed? And they're like, oh, sort of 9. I'm like, oh, okay. Like our little fella's in bed by 7:30, pretty much every night. He might not fall asleep until sort of 8 o'clock, but he's in bed and sort of 7:30. We might have to start looking to push that out a little bit this year, but it seems to be working for him. Sometimes he'll wake up, around 5:30. Sometimes it's 6. Sometimes it's after 6. But he's always in that sort of 45-minute window that he'll wake up. And it seems to work really well for him. He seems to be able to cope with it, but certainly not based on what some of the other parents are doing based on that conversation. I was like, "Hey, 11 o'clock. I'm in bed by 11. I'm in bed by sort of 9:30, 10 o'clock. And your kid's still awake." What about you? Is there any sort of science to it?
No, we're exactly the same. Actually, I need to probably review the time they're going to bed. But Eloise and Sam are generally in bed by 7:15. They'll read for 15, 20 minutes. So same thing. By 8 o'clock, they're pretty much generally asleep, and they'll get up about 6:30 and around they go. Mia is 10, so she stays up a little bit later, but it just depends what she has on the next morning for school. So yeah, I can probably push out Eloise a little bit later actually, but like you said, and the same thing applies. That's the time she goes to bed, and it works well. Seems to be enough. 6 out of 7 mornings, she's not too bad, but there's always one that's which was a shitty morning, but we get through it.
What about Blair, Ryan? Blair's only about 6 months old. What's her sleeping habits like?
Blair tells us when she goes to bed, she's got attitude, so she will walk into the bed and jump on it, and basically, then if we don't follow, in about 5 minutes, she'll come to the bedroom door, look into the lounge room, and just look at us and be like, "Come on now, come to bed."
Oh, really? She gives you the bedroom
Yeah.
eyes. What a little minx.
She's got a lot of attitude. But then in the morning she doesn't want to get out of bed. She just lies there. So yeah, she's quite easy.
I
Quite
forget
easy
how
dog.
much does a dog sleep a day?
She's just turned 1, so she's just coming out of being a puppy, but like puppies quite a lot. I mean I'd probably say 10, 12 hours a day. Like she naps during the day as well. So it's much easier than a kid.
It's a good life being a dog.
It's a great
A-
life being a dog.
Apart if
Lives
you're
like a
traveling,
queen.
apart from if you're traveling internationally, it's quite difficult being a dog in that instance.
It's very painful traveling a dog internationally, but we will get there with her. She'll be fine.
Just to finish up, we'll finish up shortly. So, what's the process of getting Blair back into Australia look like now? Because you and TK are looking to come back to Australia at some point. And Blair's maybe a stumbling block to that. What's that look like?
Yeah, we're very fortunate that we've got the ability to stay in Europe, work and sort of live, which is very handy. So it's a bunch of tests, 180 days before you fly, then you have to apply for a permit, the government has to say yes, then you got to book into a quarantine spot, the government has to like approve and open it up, and then 4 weeks leading up to it, again, a bunch of tests before you go, and then finally put on a plane. So all in all, I expect this is going to take 6 to 9 months, which is a bit outrageous, but
Wow.
it is what it is.
And
And it's going to cost more than my flights back and forth to Australia several times.
wow. And how long do you not see her for in that process, like in the travel process?
Yeah, it's pretty shit. So the Oz government made some changes, and in true government fashion, just decided to do it without any logical sense. So when we got her, and we got her kind of on this basis where it was 10 days. For 10 days, quarantine in Oz was fine. We thought that's okay. Now they've changed it and it's basically a blanket 30. So whoever the minister is that did that and woke up one day, I think he's a dickhead. But it'll be 30 days. So it just sort of is what it is. I mean, it's pretty, like everything I've read, the facilities and that are pretty good. But it's just a bit outrageous. And it's pretty much because there was a lot of commercial import of dogs, during COVID boom and stuff. But I sort of sit there and go, well, why don't you just make commercial dogs do 30 days and actual citizens that are returning? 10 days probably seems reasonable, but that's all right. It is what it is.
I think in this instance we just need to blame Johnny Depp and Pistol and Boo, don't we?
Yeah, pretty much. I think
Ruin it for everyone.
yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of the government anyway, so I just expect them to just be assholes.
That is really annoying. That's frustrating, especially you do something on the basis of one thing and things change and it's triple that. That's hard.
Yep. So it's just but at the moment, like, yeah, she's great, and we get to chill out in Europe for a few extra months than we thought planned. So I really can't complain.
She'd prefer to be an Aussie dog anyway. Barbecues, bits of sausage thrown off the barbecue. It's much better being an Australian. It's a little bit of an inconvenience for her to get here, but she'll be a great Aussie dog.
A little bit of inconvenience, but she'll love being in Australia.
Yeah,
good barbecue, good backyards, all that kind of good stuff.
And she learned to bark with an Australian accent. Well, that wraps up for this week. Remember to subscribe to Daddy Eats Last on iTunes if you haven't already. And while you're there, please leave a review. Also tell your mates about the podcast, especially if they are guys. Most of all, thanks for listening, and we'll be back next week with another episode, or should I say, serving of Daddy Eats Last. Well, won't be next week, it'll be next month. Catch you then.
Bye bye. Bye bye.